I have one last question for the
sure.
experts. we talked about before that you dropped the 5-step.
Yeah.
But why was the original 3-step and 5-step? Anyone knows?
My guess would be space.
Small dojo, yeah. And bigger dojo.
But why do you need 5 steps if you have 3 steps? I can see the difference between 1 step and 3 steps. I can see the difference. But why do you need 5 steps? You don't have 7 steps. So I think 5 steps is more or less redundant. Anyhow, even though if you're going for the 3K stuff, 3 steps and 5 steps is the same compared to 1 step.
Yeah.
So why have they ever done 5 steps? I don't know.
I think it's just for a differentiation of understanding. So people know if they're doing 5-step, it's single technique. So 5-step, single technique, we go down, we go back. If it's 3-step, then we know we're doing 3 different techniques, 3 different defences. If you call them all the same thing, then you have to explain to people each time what they're doing. Whereas,
okay, so
that's the only explanation I'm coming up with is it's a very easy way to differentiate 1 step, 3 steps, 5
So you think that the 3 steps is always 3 different techniques and 5 steps the same technique?
In my experience, my understanding of 3-step has always been when we're doing 3-step, we're doing 1, 2, 3 different techniques, 3 different responses. When we're doing 5-step, we're doing 5 repetitions of the same technique.
Yeah.
So for us, that was always the differentiation.
There is another factor, and that is that 3-step, particularly if it's done as punch, punch, kick, you can get away with a certain level of errors in distancing. 5-step, if you're consistently, as attacker, over or understepping, and if as a defender you're consistently over or understepping, by the time you've done 5 steps, it's really, really noticeable. You don't need to do 6. But you might have just got away with it on 4 because that difference increases with each step. If the person's going forward too much and the other person's not going back enough, they're not recognising spatial distance. Now, having said that, I mean, I think we all agree on this page, as it were, that training people as their first response to step backwards is not particularly good. One of the first things I did when I set up my first club was the first group of students, they learned the initial essential Kanazawa Shotokan step backs. And the first one we did was step back Agyuki, step back Soto Uryuki, and so forth. And then the next one, the Joden number 2, was step off to the side. And the next group of students I got in, a few months later, I thought, I'm going to change this round a bit and I'm going to teach them stepping off to the side first. And then after about a month, I had everyone stand 30 centimetres away from a wall with their backs to the wall, as it were, and had someone come in. And we were still just doing the linear punches at that stage, which is not something I really do anything at all of these days. All the ones who'd learned to step back first were bouncing off the wall and getting into trouble. All the ones who'd learned to step sideways first were easily just shifting out the way, and they didn't feel any pressure whatsoever. And it just shows that you get good at what you drill, and often what you drill first is going to stick with you.
Move the way you train.
It's a difficult habit to break, and obviously I was rehearsing for today because we had this conversation last night as well, talking about 3-step and 5-step. Is that what is the purpose of the drill? The purpose of the drill is to get good at doing the drill. And when you get good at doing the drill, you can get faster and harder at it, but it's a circular drill. It's not serving another function. People tell me, well, it's to teach distance and timing. But it is, but it's teaching the distancing and timing of that drill.
It's a memory tool.
But it serves no purpose outside of itself.
Correct.
As a drill.
No.
Correct. It's like memorizing those 3 in that particular rhythm and tempo, and that's what that distance set, right? That's why I think boxing, to me, is an ultimate delivery system for footwork. If you take boxing, can I stand up and show something? Yeah. So boxers, right? They do this kind of thing, right? There's the crucifix, right? If some sort of force or pressure is coming this way, naturally they'll use their head to move. They'll snap back, right? Or they'll step. Let's just say they want to step and get out, and they want to mobilize this way. So watch what they're going to do. They're going to step up, and for that second, this is the leaning forward stance, right? And if they're gonna want to turn, they want to turn their body. They're I've seen them do this. They're turning like this. This is our female horse stance, right? But they're doing it dynamically.
Yeah.
So instead of doing it in a kata like here, right? They're like this.
Yes.
It's that simple, right? And it's tight. It's not. This whole bouncing thing, I find this bouncing thing is criticized a lot. But what's stopping us from just kind of doing this? It's the same movement, but you're learning how to. You like for me, my knees now are not as best as it used to be, so I can't bounce a lot. So I kind of I adapt by dropping my knees and I kind of stay close to the floor a bit, but I'm still kind of mobile here. So I'm like this. Yeah. So I'm doing like a side step when I'm 10 counting, but I'm getting but all that kata, all those drills kind of inform my movement. So when I do it dynamically, I know what I'm doing. Like I'm stepping off and I'm turning, right? But I'm not gonna stick to a step drill. I'm gonna flow. So someone's gonna come at me with various attacks, and I'll have to defend and do it, and then try to go for the takedown or whatever. But I'm drilling it dynamically by stepping and turning, and I'm getting that from boxing.
Yeah.
I find boxing kind of, puts all of my stance work on the map. Like 360 degrees. I can use because I know how to box, I can use my stance work, by coming in on different angles, stepping off. If I need to turn, I'll turn, right? Turning your back is bad. Well, if someone's crashing you and chasing you, you need to know how to turn and face, right?
Yeah.
So we do these movements in kata. But you gotta learn how to do it combatively.
Yeah.
And I get that from boxing. Boxing teaches me how to get out of that set step drill kind of thing. And
Yeah, you
Sorry.
asked us the
Get
question
excited when
about, you asked us the question about 3-step, 5-step. Did you have anything in your own head?
No. I just think that I just thought sometimes we have been doing 3-step with the same attack. I've both done 3 similar attacks and 3 different attacks. Punch, kick, or.
I've done the same, yes. 5 of the same, 3 of the same. But I think your explanation.
No, but it's just
with the distance.
some
Just 5 really shows it up.
just if you 3
Whereas
steps,
if you
just
just
5
start
steps.
after it doesn't show that.
Well, it also does to a certain. I mean, I don't do kihon as line work anymore, whether in my shotokan or the dart. I tend to use what I call kihon is hitting pads. It's looking at the biomechanics of movements against pads and impact delivery, and then obviously they're working the kihon through the kumite in other ways and through the kata, because kata is another form of basics training. But back in the days, that I remember from doing line work, you would get, not just because of different leg lengths, you'd get these separations as people marched up and down, marched back, which would also enable the instructor to see, how are people stepping? Are they overstepping? Often instructors just ignore that because they're so busy focusing on what the person's doing with their, gerambarai, agyoki, gerambarai, whatever combination it is, that they're actually missing a trick by not helping their students learn about stepping, dropping weight, moderating stepping, and maybe where they're transferring weight on their knees as they step to protect their joints. Because obviously how we step is going to affect our knee joint, our ankle joint, our hip joint in the long term.
See, that's one of the things that I have a real tight session on, is how to step. And I keep revisiting that because you see it all the time. The people have their weight distribution wrong. They use lack of balance. They'll collapse the front knee to step. They won't use the right and engage the right muscles to have their centre and pull and push. They do all sorts of things, but if you put a gi on and you go up and down and you end in the right shape, the shape looks right, that's fine. You can go a long way through. I certainly made it through showdown. I might have been at knee down before I had that pointed out to me, and why I was doing these things was just wrong. And once you fix those things, you actually find that your transition, your flow, your ease of movement, everything becomes so much easier. But it's such a simple, fundamental thing. But I teach it as an advanced thing to advanced students because they've got that far and they just don't understand the simple step forward, step back. And once you've got that, everything else just travels on it. because you're in control of your balance at all points, or where your centre is. And once you're in control of where your centre is, you can then be in control of being out of balance because you have that awareness.